I was standing in line at the DMV when my marriage ended. Not the kind of place you'd expect your life to implode, but that's exactly what happened. My phone buzzed with a text from my buddy Kyle. "Dude, you need to call me, now." Kyle wasn't the dramatic type. In 15 years of friendship, he'd never sent me anything with all caps. I stepped out of line, my new driver's license renewal forgotten, and hit his number. "What's wrong? Where are you?" His voice was tight, controlled, the way people sound when they're trying not to lose it. "DMV on Fletcher Street. What's going on?" "Stay there. I'm 5 minutes away." He hung up before I could respond. Kyle pulled up in his truck exactly 4 minutes later. I could see his face through the windshield, jaw set, eyes hard. He motioned me over, and I climbed into the passenger seat. "You're scaring me, man." "What?" He handed me his phone without a word. The screen showed Instagram. Some account I didn't recognize, Vancouver Nightlife 2024, had posted a photo from what looked like a hotel bar. Dim lighting, expensive-looking cocktails, that generic upscale atmosphere that could have been anywhere. But it wasn't the setting that made my stomach drop. It was my wife Ashley in the corner of the frame, her distinctive auburn hair unmistakable even in the low light. She was wearing the black dress I'd never seen before, and she was kissing someone. Not a peck, not a friendly gesture. Her hand was on his chest, his fingers tangled in her hair, and they were going at it like teenagers behind the bleachers. "Keep scrolling," Kyle said quietly. There were more. Different angles. Different moments from what appeared to be the same night. Ashley laughing, head thrown back. Ashley's hand intertwined with his. Ashley walking toward the elevators with this man's arm around her waist. The timestamp said Friday night, 3 days ago. The night she'd told me she was going to a mandatory work conference in Seattle. Who posted these? My voice sounded strange, distant. Some party photographer's account. They tag locations and businesses trying to build followers. Posted them yesterday. Kyle cleared his throat. "I only saw them because Melissa follows a bunch of Vancouver accounts. We're planning that trip for summer, remember?" Vancouver, not Seattle. A completely different city, in a different country. "Who is he?" I managed. "I did some digging." Kyle swiped to his photos, showing me screenshots he'd taken. The account tagged several people. "This guy's name is Trevor Ashford, works for Pinnacle Consulting. That's Ashley's client." The words came out flat. The account she's been managing for 6 months. Everything clicked into place with sickening clarity. The late nights at the office, the new lingerie I'd found in the laundry that she said was for feeling confident at work. The way she'd been distant lately, always on her phone, smiling at texts she never explained. The sudden interest in professional development conferences. I'd noticed. Of course I'd noticed. But I'd trusted her. We'd been married for 8 years, together for 11. High school sweethearts who'd actually made it work. Or so I'd thought. "There's more," Kyle said, and I wanted to tell him to stop, that I'd seen enough, but he was already switching to his messages. "I sent these to Jake. You know, my cousin who works in tech? Asked him to do a reverse image search, check if there were any other photos floating around. He showed me 3 more Instagram accounts, 2 Facebook posts, and a Yelp review, all featuring my wife and Trevor Ashford at various locations around Vancouver. Restaurants, a wine bar, walking through some waterfront park. The dates ranged over the past 4 months. 4 months. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a one-time thing. This was a whole separate relationship. My hands were shaking. I realized I'd been holding my breath and forced myself to exhale. "What time does she get home today?" Kyle asked. I checked my watch. "Her flight lands at 6. She'll probably be home by 7:30. "Okay." Kyle put his truck in drive. "Here's what we're going to do. You're going to go home, act completely normal, and not say a single word about this until you've talked to a lawyer. I'm not going to listen to me. His voice was firm, almost harsh. I know you want to confront her right now. I know you want answers. But you need to be smart about this. You've got proof she's been lying for months. You've got proof of infidelity. In Virginia, that matters for divorce proceedings. But if you tip your hand too early, she'll have time to prepare, to hide assets, to build her own case. I stared at the photos on his phone, at my wife's face lit up with happiness I hadn't seen directed at me in months. My firm has a divorce attorney, Kyle continued. Guy named Patrick Whitmore. He's sharp as hell and he doesn't mess around. I can get you an appointment for tomorrow morning, first thing. You go in, show him everything, and let him tell you the right way to handle this. Tomorrow morning I have the quarterly review meeting at work. Reschedule it. Kyle, I can't just… Your wife has been sleeping with another man for 4 months. His words were blunt, cutting through my fog. She's been lying to your face, spending your money on trips to see him, and building a whole second life. Your marriage is over. The only question now is whether you're going to protect yourself or let her walk all over you on the way out. I looked at him. This friend who'd known me since we were stupid kids trying to figure out how to talk to girls, and saw nothing but fierce loyalty in his eyes. Okay, I said. Set up the meeting. I sat in Kyle's truck for another 10 minutes after we stopped talking, watching the DMV parking lot empty out as the afternoon wore on. My phone felt like a bomb in my pocket. Every few seconds, I had the urge to pull it out and look at those photos again, to confirm it was real. But Kyle had already forwarded everything to his own email account and mine. The evidence wasn't going anywhere. You good to drive? Kyle asked. I nodded, though I wasn't sure. My hands had stopped shaking, but everything felt distant, like I was watching myself from somewhere outside my body. Go home. Act normal. I'll call Whitmore right now and get you in first thing tomorrow. Kyle squeezed my shoulder once, hard. You're going to get through this. I climbed into my car and drove home on autopilot. The house looked exactly the same as when I'd left it that morning. Red brick colonial, white trim, the azaleas Ashley had planted last spring starting to bud. I'd always liked coming home. Now the sight of it made my stomach turn. Inside, everything was neat. Ashley always kept things neat. Her coffee mug from this morning was washed and sitting in the drainer. The throw pillows on the couch were arranged just so. I walked through the rooms like I was seeing them for the first time, wondering what else I'd missed. The bedroom looked normal. Our bed was made. Her nightstand had the usual stack of marketing books and her reading glasses. I opened her closet and stared at the rows of clothes, the shoe rack, the jewelry box on the top shelf. Nothing looked different. Nothing looked like evidence of a 4-month affair. Then I remembered what Kyle had said about the cloud storage bug. I grabbed my laptop and opened our shared family account, the one we'd set up years ago to back up our phones automatically. We'd been meaning to upgrade the storage for months but kept putting it off. The photo library loaded slowly. I scrolled through the usual stuff. Pictures from our vacation to Charleston last summer, screenshots of recipes, photos of the house we'd taken for insurance purposes. Then I saw them. Photos of our bedroom, but not taken by me. The angle was wrong, from the side of the wardrobe, looking toward the bed. I'd never taken a photo from that spot. Neither had Ashley, as far as I knew. The lighting was dim, late afternoon or early evening. The bed was unmade, which Ashley never allowed. And there, on her nightstand, was something that didn't belong. A men's watch. Expensive-looking, silver with a black face. My chest tightened. I checked the date stamp. February 18th. 3 weeks ago. I'd been at a trade show in Baltimore that day, overnight. I scrolled further. More photos, different dates. Same angle, same spot by the wardrobe. January 30th. February 4th. February 11th. All dates I'd been away for work or visiting my brother in North Carolina. The photos were almost identical. Bedroom interior shots like someone was documenting the space. But why? Then I found one that made my blood run cold. February 11th, timestamp 6:47 p.m. Same angle, but this one showed 2 wine glasses on the dresser. Ashley's black dress, the one from the Vancouver photos, draped over the chair in the corner. I sat back, trying to breathe normally. He'd been in our house, in our bedroom, multiple times. The cloud storage bug had mixed up accounts somehow, and these photos had ended up in our shared library instead of wherever they were supposed to go. Trevor's account, probably. But why was he taking photos of our bedroom? I grabbed my phone and called Kyle. "What's wrong?" he answered immediately. "He's been in our house, in our bedroom. There are photos in our cloud storage. The bug mixed them up. They're taken from beside the wardrobe, looking at the bed. Different dates, all when I was out of town." Kyle was quiet for a second. "Don't touch anything else. Don't delete those photos. I'm sending Whitmore a text right now. This changes things. You might need to call the cops." "For what? Taking pictures in his girlfriend's house?" "It's your house too. And depending on Virginia law, there might be something here. Just hold tight. Let me talk to Whitmore." After we hung up, I forced myself to close the laptop. My hands were shaking again. I looked around the bedroom with new eyes, trying to figure out where he'd stood, what he'd touched. The wardrobe was built in, floor to ceiling, with a small gap between it and the wall. You could fit in there if you wanted to. The angle of the photos suggested he'd been pressed right up against it. But why take the photos at all? Insurance? Proof he'd been here? Some kind of sick trophy collection? I checked the time. 5:15 p.m. Ashley would be home in just over 2 hours. I was supposed to act normal, like Kyle said. Make dinner, ask about her day, pretend I didn't know my wife had been screwing her client in our bed while I was away. My phone buzzed. "Kyle. Whitmore says don't call cops yet. Preserve everything. See you at his office. 8 a.m. sharp. Address is 1847 Broad Street, Suite 300. Hang in there." I went downstairs and opened the fridge, staring at its contents without seeing them. The idea of cooking dinner, of sitting across from Ashley and making small talk, felt impossible. But Kyle was right. I couldn't tip my hand. Not yet. I pulled out chicken breasts and vegetables, moving through the familiar routine of dinner prep like a robot. Cutting board, knife, olive oil. I'd made this exact meal 100 times. Ashley liked it when I cooked. She'd always said it was one of the things she loved about me, that I didn't expect her to handle everything domestic just because she worked from home more often. I wondered if she'd said the same things to Trevor. If she'd told him stories about us, about our life together, while they were together in hotel rooms or in our bed. If she'd laughed about how clueless I was. The chicken sizzled in the pan. I checked my phone again. 5:47 p.m. Less than 2 hours now. I thought about the photos again, those strange interior shots. The more I considered it, the weirder it seemed. Who takes photos of an empty bedroom from beside a wardrobe? Unless they weren't meant to be empty. Unless someone was supposed to be in them, and the camera was set up beforehand. My stomach dropped. I grabbed my laptop again and pulled up the photos, zooming in on each one, looking for details I'd missed. There, in the mirror above the dresser, visible in the February 4th photo. A reflection. Blurry, but definitely a reflection of someone on the bed. I couldn't make out features, but I could see skin, the curve of a shoulder. He'd set up his phone by the wardrobe to record them. These weren't just random shots. They were stills from videos or photos taken on a timer. He'd been documenting the affair. The question was why? And the bigger question, where were the actual videos? I forwarded the photos to Kyle with a message. "Look at the mirror in the Feb 4 shot." He was recording. The reply came fast. "Jesus, tell Whitmore tomorrow. This is beyond divorce stuff now." I closed the laptop and went back to cooking, my mind racing. If Trevor had been recording their encounters in our bedroom, that meant there was likely more evidence out there. Video evidence. The cloud storage bug had only caught a few stills, but the full recordings had to be somewhere. The chicken was done. I plated everything mechanically, set the table, poured water into glasses. The kitchen looked perfect, domestic, normal, like a stage set for a marriage that didn't exist anymore. At 7:23 p.m., I heard the garage door open. Ashley's car pulling in. The sound of her door closing, her heels on the concrete floor, the jingle of her keys. I stood at the stove, spatula in hand, and waited for my wife to walk through the door. I heard her keys in the door. The familiar jingle, the scrape of metal finding the lock. 8 years of that sound. How many times had I smiled when I heard it? I stayed at the kitchen table, laptop closed in front of me. The screenshots were saved in 3 different places now: cloud backup, external drive, and Kyle's email. Patrick Whitmore's office had confirmed my appointment for tomorrow at 10. "Hey, babe," Ashley's voice carried from the entryway, bright and easy. "Sorry I'm late. Traffic on 95 was insane." I listened to her drop her bag, the soft thud of her heels coming off. She appeared in the kitchen doorway in her gray work dress, the one she said made her look professional. Her auburn hair was pulled back. She looked tired. She looked like my wife. "How was your day?" I asked. "Exhausting." She went to the fridge, pulled out the Brita pitcher. "We're finalizing the Pinnacle campaign and everyone's losing their minds over the smallest details. I swear if I have to look at another revision of their logo placement." She poured water into a glass. "How was the DMV?" "Fine, got it done." She turned, leaning against the counter. "You okay? You seem quiet." "Just tired." She studied me for a moment, then nodded. "Want to order in? I'm too beat to cook." "Sure." "Thai?" "Whatever you want." She pulled out her phone, scrolling. I watched her thumbs move across the screen. How many messages to Trevor today? How many times had she typed his name while sitting across from me at dinner, while lying next to me in bed? My phone buzzed. "Kyle. You good?" I typed back under the table. "Yeah." "Stick to the plan." Ashley was reading menu items aloud. "They have that basil chicken you like, and the drunken noodles are really good there." "Basil chicken's fine." She placed the order, then sat down across from me. "You sure you're okay? You're being weird." "Long day." "The DMV is the worst." She reached across and squeezed my hand. Her wedding ring caught the light. "Want to watch something after dinner? We could finally start that show everyone's been talking about." Her hand was warm. I looked at our fingers intertwined and thought about Trevor's phone propped against the wardrobe, recording her in our bed. Recording them. "Sure," I said. She smiled and pulled her hand back, checking her phone again. "Food should be here in 30 minutes." I nodded. She got up and headed toward the stairs. "I'm going to change. Be right back." I listened to her footsteps on the stairs, the creak of the bedroom door. I imagined her walking past the wardrobe, past the exact spot where Trevor had stood with his phone. Did she think about it when she was in there? Did she remember? My phone buzzed again. "Kyle. Don't do anything tonight. Wait for the lawyer." I didn't respond. I just sat there, staring at the closed laptop. Ashley came back down in yoga pants and an old college sweatshirt. She curled up on the couch, patting the cushion next to her. "Come sit. You're making me nervous hovering in there." I joined her. She leaned against me, her head on my shoulder. We sat like that in silence. On the TV, some home renovation show played on mute. "I missed you today," she said quietly. The words hung there. I felt her breathing, steady and even. 11 years. High school sweethearts. I'd known her since she was 17. Ashley. Hmm. I almost said it. Almost asked her about Vancouver, about Trevor, about the photos. The words were right there. But Kyle's voice was in my head. Don't tip your hand. Not yet. Nothing, just missed you too. She tilted her head up, kissed my cheek. We should do something this weekend. Get out of the house. Maybe drive down to Richmond, walk around Carytown like we used to? Maybe. You're doing it again. Being weird. Sorry, work stuff on my mind. She sat up, turning to face me. What work stuff? You never bring work home. Just a project. It's fine. Her eyes narrowed slightly. You're lying to me. My stomach clenched. What? You have that look, the one you get when you're trying to hide something. She was smiling, but there was an edge to it. What is it? Did you forget our anniversary or something? No. Then what? The doorbell rang. We both froze for a second, then she laughed. Saved by the bell. That's the food. She got up and headed to the door. I heard her thanking the delivery driver, the rustle of plastic bags. She came back with the food and started unpacking containers on the coffee table. Come on, eat with me, and tell me what's really going on in that head of yours. I took the container she handed me. The smell of basil and chicken filled the room. My favorite. She'd remembered. Nothing's going on. Liar. She said it playfully, spearing a piece of chicken with her fork. But fine. Be mysterious. We ate in silence for a while. The show played on, some couple arguing about whether to keep the original hardwood or put in new tile. Oh, I meant to tell you, Ashley said. I might need to go back to Seattle next month. They want a follow-up meeting on the campaign. I kept my eyes on my food. Seattle? Yeah, probably just a couple days. You know how they are. They like the face-to-face stuff. Right. You could come with me if you want. Make a long weekend out of it. We haven't traveled together in forever. Seattle, not Vancouver, still lying. I'll check my schedule, I said. She nodded, scrolling through her phone again. Trevor, Mr. Ashford, was saying they might want to extend the contract for another year, which would be huge for my portfolio. She said his name, just dropped it into conversation like it was nothing, like I didn't know, like there weren't photos of them all over Instagram, timestamps proving she'd lied about every trip. That's great, I managed. It would mean more travel, though, probably once a month for the next few quarters. She glanced up at me. That okay with you? Why wouldn't it be? I don't know, you just seem off about everything. I set down my food. I'm fine, Ashley. You keep saying that. Because it's true. She stared at me for a long moment. Something flickered across her face. Suspicion, maybe, or concern. Then she shook her head and went back to her food. Okay, if you say so. We finished eating in silence. She cleaned up the containers while I sat there, watching her move around the kitchen. She hummed something under her breath, some song I didn't recognize. She seemed relaxed. Happy, even. She had no idea. I'm going to take a shower, she announced. You coming to bed soon? Yeah. Soon. She kissed the top of my head as she passed. Don't stay up too late. I listened to the water start upstairs. Listened to the familiar sounds of her nighttime routine. In a few minutes, she'd be in our bed, probably checking her phone one more time before sleep. Maybe texting Trevor goodnight. Maybe looking at photos of their Vancouver trips, remembering? My phone buzzed. Kyle. How you holding up? I'm here. That's not an answer. I don't know what else to tell you. Tomorrow at 10, Patrick's good. He'll tell you what to do next. Okay. Don't sleep in the same bed as her tonight. Guest room. I looked at the message for a long time. He was right. I knew he was right. But if I suddenly moved to the guest room, she'd know something was wrong. She'd ask questions. She'd get defensive. Can't. She'll notice. Then sleep on the couch. Say you fell asleep watching TV. Yeah. I'm serious, man. Don't share a bed with her. Not after what you saw today. I thought about the photos, the angle from beside the wardrobe, Trevor's phone recording them in the bed where I slept every night. Okay, the water shut off upstairs. I heard Ashley moving around in the bathroom, then the bedroom. A few minutes later, she called down. You coming? I'm going to watch TV for a bit. You go ahead. A pause. You sure? Yeah, I'm wired. Won't be able to sleep yet. Okay, love you. The words hit like a fist. I closed my eyes. Love you too, I said. Because that's what you say. That's what we'd always said. Even now, even knowing everything, the words came automatically. I heard her settle into bed. I sat there on the couch in the dark, the TV casting blue light across the room. Tomorrow at 10, I'd sit across from Patrick Whitmore and show him everything. The Instagram photos, the timestamps, the bedroom pictures from the cloud storage, the evidence of Trevor recording them. Tomorrow, I'd start the process of ending my marriage. But tonight, I just sat there, listening to my wife fall asleep upstairs in our bed, listening to the house settle around us, listening to the sound of everything I'd built for 11 years cracking apart in the silence. My phone buzzed one more time. Kyle. It gets better. I promise. I didn't respond. I just turned off the TV and lay down on the couch, still fully dressed, staring at the ceiling until the darkness swallowed everything whole. The law offices of Whitmore and Associates occupied the third floor of a brick building downtown, the kind of place that looked respectable without trying too hard. I'd barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those bedroom photos, the angle from beside the wardrobe, the casual violation of it. Kyle had offered to come with me, but I told him no. This part I needed to do alone. Patrick Whitmore was younger than I expected. Maybe 40, with the kind of steady handshake that probably put nervous clients at ease. His office smelled like coffee and leather. Kyle filled me in on the basics, he said, gesturing to the chair across from his desk. But I need to hear it from you. Everything, in order. So I told him. The Instagram photos, the reverse image search results, the 4 months of evidence. Then the cloud storage bug, the bedroom photos, the timestamps matching my work trips. Whitmore's expression didn't change much as he listened, but his pen moved steadily across a legal pad. When I finished, he set the pen down. Do you still have access to the cloud storage? Yeah. She doesn't know I've seen any of it. Don't delete anything. Don't move anything. Just document what's there. Screenshots with timestamps visible. Can you do that this morning? I nodded. The bedroom photos are the problem, Whitmore said. Virginia is a two-party consent state for recordings. If he was filming without your wife's knowledge, that's illegal. But if she knew... He paused. Either way, it was in your home without your consent. That's a separate issue. What does that mean for the divorce? It means we have leverage. Adultery is still grounds for at-fault divorce in Virginia. The photos establish that clearly. The fact that it happened in your marital home, repeatedly, while you were traveling for work, that demonstrates a pattern of deception and disrespect for the marriage. Any judge will take that into account. He pulled out a form. I'm going to file for a protective order for your assets. Joint accounts get frozen, credit cards get monitored. She won't be able to drain anything or make major purchases without court approval. We'll do that today, before she has any indication, you know. She mentioned another Seattle trip. This Friday. Whitmore looked up. Is that what she called the last one? Yeah. Then she's probably planning to see him again. That works in our favor, shows ongoing adultery, not a one-time mistake. But here's what you need to understand. The next few days are critical. You cannot tip your hand. Can you do that? Can you go home tonight and act normal? I thought about it. about sitting across from her at dinner, about listening to more lies about Seattle. I can do it. Good. Because if she suspects anything, she'll start moving money, deleting evidence, coordinating stories with him. We need her to think everything is fine until we're ready to move. He slid a document across the desk. This is a retainer agreement. My rate is $3.50 an hour. Based on what you've told me, I estimate this will cost between $15,000 and $20,000, assuming she doesn't fight too hard once she sees what we have. The number should have shocked me, but it didn't. I signed. One more thing, Whitmore said. The videos. The full recordings that those bedroom photos came from. We need to find out where they are. Does this Trevor have them? Did your wife participate in making them? That matters legally, and it matters for settlement negotiations. How do I find that out? You don't? I hire someone who can. A digital forensics investigator. They can analyze the metadata, trace where the images originated, potentially access his devices if it comes to that. He wrote something on a card and handed it to me. Her name is Nina Cobb. She's expensive, but she's fast. Call her today. I left the office at 10:30 with a folder full of documents and a list of things to do. Photograph the cloud storage contents. Change my direct deposit to a new individual account. Make copies of financial records. Get the house appraised. All of it had to happen invisibly, while I smiled and nodded and pretended my marriage wasn't already over. Kyle called as I was getting into my car. How'd it go? He's filing today, freezing the accounts. Good. You at work? Heading there now. Wrong. You're coming to my place. You're not going to work like this. I'm fine. Bullshit. Come here. We'll handle the screenshots together. Kyle's apartment was the same controlled chaos it had always been. Gaming setup in the living room, dishes in the sink, but somehow cleaner than it looked. He'd already cleared space on his dining table and had his laptop open. Show me the cloud storage. I pulled it up on my phone. The bedroom photos were still there, mixed in with our regular pictures like landmines. I hadn't looked at them closely yesterday, couldn't make myself. Kyle took the phone. His jaw tightened as he scrolled, but his voice stayed level. Okay, we're going to screenshot each one. Make sure the date and timestamps are visible. Then we're going to check the metadata. Whitmore said not to move anything. We're not moving it. We're documenting it. He connected my phone to his laptop. This bug, it's pulling from multiple users' storage, right? So these photos exist in someone else's account, probably his, which means there's a trail. He pulled up some kind of technical interface I didn't recognize. Lines of code scrolled past. Here, see this? He pointed to a string of numbers. That's the original upload location. These photos were uploaded from a device registered to... He stopped. Clicked something else. Huh. What? They weren't uploaded from a phone. This is a camera. A real one, not a cell phone camera. He looked at me. He set up a camera in your bedroom. The apartment tilted slightly. I sat down. It gets worse, Kyle said, still typing. These aren't stills from a video. They're timed shots. See the intervals? Every 30 seconds. He set up a camera on a timer to photograph your bed. Why would he? I don't know, but Nina Cobb needs to see this. Now. He was already pulling out his phone. Nina Cobb agreed to meet us at 2 o'clock at a coffee shop near the university. She looked like someone's mom, maybe 50, reading glasses on a chain, cardigan, until she opened her laptop and her fingers started moving. Cloud storage bug, she said, looking at the screenshots Kyle had prepared. I heard about this. Affected about 10,000 users. Companies keeping it quiet, trying to fix it before the lawsuits start. She zoomed in on one of the bedroom photos. Your lawyer's right about the metadata. This is a Canon EOS R5. Expensive, professional grade, set on interval timer mode. Can you trace who owns it? Already did. Cameras registered to a Trevor Ashford, purchased 14 months ago from B&H Photo in New York. She pulled up a receipt. He paid $4,300 for the body alone. 14 months, I said. But the affair only started 4 months ago. According to the Instagram photos, Nina corrected. But maybe it started earlier. Or maybe he bought the camera for something else first. She clicked through several screens. Here's what I can tell you. This camera has a Wi-Fi function. Photos automatically upload to cloud storage. His cloud storage, which is where your family account pulled them from during the bug. That means the full photo sets are still in his account. Can you access them? Not legally, not without a subpoena. But I can tell you they exist, and I can tell you approximately how many. Based on the intervals and the dates, I estimate there are between 3,000 and 4,000 photos total. The number hung in the air. He photographed every time, Kyle said quietly. Nina nodded. Every time he was in that room, yes. The question is why? This level of documentation suggests either insurance, he's protecting himself against some threat, or compulsion. Some people document their affairs obsessively. Trophy collecting, essentially. What do we do with this? I asked. Your lawyer subpoenas his cloud storage account. All of it. In discovery, he'll have to turn it over. And when he does, you'll have documentation of every single encounter, time-stamped and geotagged. It's the kind of evidence that ends cases before they start. She closed her laptop. One more thing. If there are 4,000 photos and your wife was present for all of them, she knew about the camera. No one sets up a professional rig like that without the other person noticing. Which means this wasn't just him being creepy. This was something they did together. The hardest part wasn't gathering evidence or meeting with lawyers. It was going home. I pulled into our driveway at 6:47 p.m., exactly when I'd normally get back from work. Ashley's car was already there, the white Mazda I'd helped her pick out 3 years ago. I sat in my truck for a minute, staring at our front door. The porch light was on. Through the living room window, I could see movement. My phone buzzed. Kyle. You got this. Remember what Whitmore said? I didn't reply. Just pocketed the phone and got out. The house smelled like garlic and tomatoes when I walked in. Ashley was in the kitchen, stirring something on the stove. She'd changed out of her work clothes into leggings and an oversized sweater. Her auburn hair was pulled back in a ponytail. Hey, she said, glancing over her shoulder. You're right on time, making that pasta thing you like. I set my keys on the counter. Smells good? She smiled. The same smile I'd known since we were 17. How was your day? Fine, boring. The lie came easier than I expected. DMV stuff took forever. God, I bet. She turned back to the stove. I swear they designed those places to make you lose your mind. I watched her stir the sauce. Her phone was face down on the counter, 3 feet from where I stood. The same phone she'd used to coordinate everything with Trevor, to lie about Seattle, to plan their meetings in our bedroom. How about you? I asked. Oh, meetings all day. The Pinnacle account is getting complicated. She said it so casually. No hesitation. Trevor's being difficult about the timeline for the spring campaign. Trevor. She just said his name in our kitchen like it was nothing. That sucks, I said. Yeah, but I'll figure it out. She grabbed 2 wine glasses from the cabinet. Want some? I opened that Malbec. Sure. She poured while I stood there, watching her move around our kitchen like everything was normal. Like she hadn't been screwing her client in our bed. Like there weren't thousands of photos documenting it. We ate at the dining table. Ashley talked about work. Carefully edited versions of her day that omitted Trevor except in professional contexts. I nodded and made appropriate sounds, asked questions, laughed at her story about their office manager ordering the wrong kind of coffee pods. You're quiet tonight, she said, twirling pasta on her fork. My chest tightened. Just tired. You sure? You seem, I don't know, distant. I met her eyes. She looked concerned. Actually concerned, like she gave a damn. I'm fine, I said. Just a long day. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Well, I'm glad you're home. I wanted to throw up. That night, she fell asleep next to me like she had 1,000 times before. I lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, acutely aware of the wardrobe to my left. The angle where Trevor had set up his camera. I'd been sleeping in this bed, in this room, while he documented everything. While Ashley posed for him, or didn't object, or whatever the hell had happened. Nina Cobb's words kept replaying. She would have known. My phone lit up on the nightstand. A text from Kyle at 11:43 p.m. You make it through? Yeah. Whitmore's filing tomorrow. Hang in there. I set the phone down and listened to Ashley breathe. Steady, peaceful, not a care in the world. The next 2 days were a masterclass in pretending. I went to work, came home, had dinner with my wife. We watched TV on the couch. She complained about a difficult client, not Trevor, someone else. I told her about a project deadline. We existed in our routine like nothing had changed. Wednesday night, she suggested we go out Friday. There's that new Italian place downtown. We haven't done a date night in forever. Sounds good, I said. She kissed my cheek. I miss us sometimes, you know? We should do this more. I excused myself and went to the bathroom. Locked the door. Sat on the edge of the tub and stared at the tile floor until my hands stopped shaking. Thursday morning, Patrick Whitmore's paralegal called while I was at work. Mr. Whitmore wanted me to inform you that the initial filing went through this morning at 9:15 a.m. The freeze on joint accounts is in effect as of 10 a.m. Mrs. Ashley will be served papers tomorrow afternoon at her workplace. Tomorrow, I repeated. Yes, sir. Mr. Whitmore recommends you make arrangements to stay elsewhere tomorrow night. Do you have somewhere you can go? Yeah, my friend's place. Good. Pack a bag tonight if you can do so discreetly. Once she's served, things may escalate quickly. I thanked her and hung up. Sat at my desk, staring at my computer screen without seeing it. Tomorrow. 24 hours. That night, Ashley was in an unusually good mood. She'd gotten positive feedback on a campaign proposal. Again, carefully no mention of which client. She opened another bottle of wine and curled up next to me on the couch. I love you, she said, out of nowhere. I looked down at her. She was smiling up at me, relaxed and happy. Love you too, I said. The words felt like broken glass in my mouth. She fell asleep there, head on my shoulder. I waited until I was sure she was out, then carefully extracted myself and went upstairs. Pulled a duffel bag from the back of our closet, the same closet where Trevor had hidden his camera, and quietly packed clothes, toiletries, my laptop. I was zipping it closed when my phone buzzed. Nina Cobb. Found something. Call when you can. I stepped into the garage and dialed. What is it? I've been going through the metadata on those bedroom photos, Nina said. Cross-referencing dates with your credit card statements that Whitmore's office sent over. And? There are photos from 17 different dates over the past 14 months. On 12 of those dates, you had charges in other cities. Business travel, right? Yeah. But 5 of them, you were local. Home, presumably. I leaned against my workbench. What are you saying? I'm saying on 5 occasions Trevor was in your house while you were also in town. Probably while you were at work, based on the timestamps. Most are mid-afternoon between 1 and 4 p.m. The garage felt smaller. She brought him to our house in the middle of the day. That's what the evidence suggests. And there's something else. Nina paused. The most recent photos from 2 weeks ago, there's audio. Audio. The R5 can record video. Most of the files are just still images, but there are 3 short video clips from the February 27th encounter. They're explicit. But there's dialogue. My stomach dropped. What kind of dialogue? You want me to send you the files? Or do you want me to tell you? Tell me. She was quiet for a moment. In one clip, Ashley tells Trevor that you'll be home late because you're working on a project deadline. She says, and I quote, "We have until at least 8. He never leaves the office before 7 on Thursdays." Thursday, my late day. She'd planned it around my schedule. There's more, Nina continued. Trevor asks if you suspect anything. Ashley laughs and says, God, no. He doesn't pay attention to anything. I could probably tell him to his face and he wouldn't notice. The concrete floor seemed to tilt. I'm sorry, Nina said quietly. I know this is... Send me the files. Are you sure? Whitmore has everything he needs. You don't have to. Send them, she sighed. Okay, but listen to me. Don't watch them tonight. Don't do anything tonight. You're serving her tomorrow. One more day. Can you make it one more day? I stared at the duffel bag sitting on the garage floor. Packed and ready. Yeah, I said. One more day. I went back inside. Ashley was still asleep on the couch, wine glass empty on the coffee table beside her. I stood in the doorway and looked at her. Really looked at her. And felt absolutely nothing. Tomorrow at this time, she'd know. The papers would be served at her office, in front of her colleagues. The accounts would be frozen. Patrick Whitmore would make sure she couldn't touch anything. I walked upstairs, hid the duffel bag in the garage, and got into bed. One more day of pretending. Then she'd lose everything. I woke up at 5:30 a.m. to Ashley's alarm. She rolled over, kissed my cheek, and padded to the bathroom like it was any other Wednesday morning. I lay there listening to the shower run, the hairdryer, the familiar sounds of her getting ready for work. She'd be served the papers at 2 p.m. I made coffee while she did her makeup. She came into the kitchen wearing the navy suit she always wore for important client meetings. You're up early, she said, pouring herself a cup. Couldn't sleep. Everything okay? Yeah, just work stuff. She kissed me goodbye at 7:15. Love you. You too. The door closed. I stood at the kitchen window and watched her car pull out of the driveway. My phone buzzed. Kyle. How you holding up? Fine, she just left. Whitmore's guy will be there at 2. You at work? Taking the day, going to pack. Need help? No, thanks though. I spent the morning boxing up things from my office. My books, the diplomas on the wall, the signed baseball my dad gave me when I was 12. I worked methodically, taping boxes, labeling them. It felt good to have something to do with my hands. At 11:30, my phone rang. Unknown number. This is Detective Amy Walsh, Fairfax County Police. Am I speaking with... She said my name. My stomach dropped. Yes. I need to ask you some questions about a situation involving your residence. Are you available to meet this afternoon? What situation? I'd prefer to discuss it in person. Would 3 p.m. work? Yes. What's this about? We received a report regarding unauthorized recordings. I'll explain when we meet. Fairfax Station, 3800 Old Lee Highway. Ask for me at the front desk. She hung up. I called Whitmore. The police just called me, I said. Detective Amy Walsh. She wants to meet at 3. About the recordings? She didn't say much, just that they received a report. Whitmore was quiet for a moment. Don't go alone. I'll meet you there at 2:45. Don't answer any questions without me present. Am I in trouble? You didn't make the recordings. You didn't know about them. But Virginia's a 2-party consent state, and this involves your home. We need to be careful. Okay. Did she say who filed the report? No. My guess? Trevor Ashford realized his photos leaked, and he's trying to get ahead of it. Or Ashley found out she's being served and made the call herself. Either way, let me handle it. At 2:15, Kyle texted me a photo. Ashley standing in her office lobby, a man in a polo shirt handing her an envelope. Her face was confused, not yet understanding. "It's done," Kyle wrote. I stared at the photo. She was opening the envelope, pulling out the papers. The man was already walking away. My phone rang 30 seconds later. Ashley. I didn't answer. She called again. Then again. Then the texts started. "What the hell is this? Call me right now. This is insane. You can't be serious. We need to talk about this. Call me." I turned my phone face down on the kitchen counter. At 2:45, I met Whitmore in the parking lot of the police station. He was wearing a different suit than yesterday, charcoal gray, and carrying a leather briefcase. "Let me do the talking," he said as we walked in. "If she asks you a direct question, keep your answers short. Don't volunteer information." Detective Walsh was younger than I expected, maybe 35, with blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail. She led us to a small interview room with a table and 4 chairs. "Thank you for coming in," she said, sitting across from us. She opened a folder. "I'll get straight to it. We received a complaint this morning from Trevor Ashford regarding intimate recordings made without consent. He claims approximately 4,000 images were taken in your residence using a camera he placed there, and that these images recently became accessible to you through a cloud storage error." Whitmore leaned forward. "To be clear, my client had no knowledge of these recordings until the cloud error occurred. He's the victim here, not the perpetrator." Walsh nodded. "I understand, but I need to establish the facts. When did you first become aware of these images?" I looked at Whitmore. He nodded. "Monday night," I said. "They showed up in my photo stream." "And what did you do when you discovered them?" "I contacted my attorney." "Did you download or distribute any of the images?" "I preserved them as evidence for divorce proceedings. My forensics investigator has them." Walsh made a note. "Nina Cobb?" "Yes." "And you didn't know Mr. Ashford was in your home prior to seeing these images?" "No." "Were you aware your wife was having an affair with Mr. Ashford?" I hesitated. "Not until 3 days ago." Walsh flipped through her folder. "Mr. Ashford claims you've been harassing him. Phone calls, threatening messages." "That's bullshit," I said. "I've never contacted him." Whitmore put a hand on my arm. "My client has had 0 contact with Mr. Ashford. If Mr. Ashford is receiving threats, they're not coming from my client." Walsh studied me for a moment. "Mr. Ashford also claims the cloud error was engineered, that you hacked his account to access the images." "That's absurd," Whitmore said. "The cloud error affected multiple users across the platform. My client is one of many victims. If Mr. Ashford wants to file a complaint, he should be talking to the cloud service provider, not making false accusations against the person he violated." "I'm just telling you what he said." Walsh closed the folder. "Here's where we are. Virginia Code 18.2386.1 makes it illegal to use a camera to secretly record someone in a private residence. Mr. Ashford admits he placed the camera. He admits he made the recordings. The question is whether we can prove criminal intent." "He took 4,000 photos," I said. "How is that not criminal?" "He claims the camera was there for his own protection, documentation in case of a violent confrontation. He says your wife was afraid of you." The words hit me like a punch. "What?" "He says she told him you were controlling and potentially dangerous, that she needed evidence in case things escalated." "That's a lie." Walsh shrugged. "It's his defense. Whether it holds up is another matter. But I'll be honest with you. Cases like this are complicated. The recordings were made in your home, but they were made with your wife's knowledge and cooperation. That muddies the consent issue." "She brought him into my house," I said. while I was at work, while I was on business trips. How is that consent? It's her house too, Walsh said. Legally speaking, if she gave him permission to be there, and he brought a camera with her knowledge, so he gets away with it. Walsh met my eyes. I didn't say that. I'm opening an investigation. But I want you to understand what we're dealing with. This isn't a simple voyeurism case. The relationship between Mr. Ashford and your wife complicates things. Whitmore stood. Are we done here? For now? Walsh handed me a card. If you think of anything else, call me. And if Mr. Ashford contacts you, he won't, I said. If he does, let me know immediately. Don't engage. We walked out into the afternoon sun. My phone was buzzing in my pocket. I pulled it out. 17 missed calls from Ashley, 12 texts. The latest one said, I'm coming home. We need to talk about this. She's coming to the house, I said. Whitmore checked his watch. Do you want to be there when she arrives? I thought about it. About facing her. About listening to whatever story she'd invented to explain this away. No, I said. Smart. Go to Kyle's. Stay there tonight. Let her sit in the house alone. What about my stuff? Get it tomorrow. Bring Kyle with you. Don't go alone. I nodded. Whitmore put a hand on my shoulder. The detective was right about one thing. This is complicated. But Ashford filing that complaint was a mistake. He just confirmed everything we suspected. He's scared. That's good for us. I drove to Kyle's apartment. He opened the door before I could knock. Saw you pull up, he said. Beer? Yeah. We sat on his couch. I told him about Walsh, about Ashford's complaint, about Ashley blowing up my phone. She's panicking, Kyle said. Good. The detective said Ashford claims Ashley was afraid of me, that the camera was for protection. Kyle snorted. Nobody's going to believe that. Walsh seemed to think it was a decent defense. It's bullshit and everyone knows it. 4,000 photos? That's not protection, that's a sick trophy collection. My phone buzzed again. Ashley. Where are you? Your car isn't here. We need to talk about this face to face. You can't just throw away 8 years. Please come home. Kyle grabbed my phone and turned it off. Stop reading them. I can't just... Yes, you can. She had 4 months to talk to you. She doesn't get to demand anything now. He was right. I knew he was right. But it didn't make it any easier. The divorce took 6 months to finalize. 6 months of depositions, financial disclosures, and watching everything I'd built with Ashley get picked apart by lawyers and accountants. Trevor Ashford never faced criminal charges. Detective Walsh's investigation concluded that while his actions were morally questionable, the fact that Ashley had known about and consented to the recordings made prosecution difficult. Virginia's laws weren't designed for situations like this. He walked away with a slap on the wrist and a warning. But the civil suit was different. Whitmore filed invasion of privacy charges on my behalf. The 4,000 photos became Exhibit A. Undeniable proof that Trevor had violated my home, my space, my life. Nina Cobb's forensic analysis showed timestamps, locations, metadata. Every single encounter documented in excruciating detail. Trevor's company, Pinnacle Consulting, settled out of court for $240,000. They fired him 3 days after the lawsuit went public. Turns out corporate clients don't like executives who photograph their affairs in married clients' bedrooms. Bad optics. Ashley fought the divorce at first. Hired an attorney who tried to argue that the marriage had been troubled for years, that I'd been emotionally distant, that the affair was a symptom of deeper problems. Whitmore buried them in evidence. The Instagram photos, the hotel receipts, the plane tickets to Vancouver, not Seattle, the text messages Nina had recovered from Ashley's cloud backup, messages where she and Trevor laughed about how oblivious I was. The judge wasn't sympathetic. Virginia still recognizes fault-based divorce. Adultery matters. The fact that it happened in our marital home mattered more. Ashley's attorney tried to argue for equal division of assets anyway, claimed she'd contributed equally to our life together. The judge awarded me the house, my retirement accounts, and 70% of our joint savings. Ashley got her car, her personal belongings, and a reminder that actions have consequences. She moved back in with her parents in Bristol. Last I heard, she was working for a small marketing firm, making half what she used to. Trevor's wife divorced him too. Turned out I wasn't the only person who'd been lied to. She took their kids and moved to Oregon. I sold the house 8 months after the divorce finalized. Couldn't live there anymore. Every room felt contaminated. I bought a smaller place across town, something that was just mine. No shared history, no ghosts. Kyle helped me move. We didn't talk much about Ashley or Trevor anymore. What was there to say? It was over. I'd won, if you could call it that. Winning felt emptier than I'd expected. 2 years later, I was sitting in a coffee shop downtown when I saw her. Ashley. She was at a corner table with her laptop, wearing jeans and a sweater I didn't recognize. Her hair was shorter. She looked tired. Our eyes met across the room. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then she stood up and walked over. "Hi," she said. "Hi. Can I sit?" I should have said no, should have walked away. But curiosity won out. "Sure." She sat down across from me, hands wrapped around her coffee cup. "I know you probably don't want to hear this, but I need to say it anyway. I'm sorry." I didn't respond. "I was selfish and stupid and cruel," she continued. "I destroyed the best thing in my life because I was bored and flattered and too much of a coward to just be honest with you. You deserved better." "Yeah," I said. "I did." She flinched but nodded. "I'm not asking for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve that. I just wanted you to know that I understand what I did. What I threw away. Is that supposed to make me feel better? No. It's supposed to let you know that you weren't crazy, that it wasn't your fault, that you were a good husband and I was the problem." I looked at her, really looked at her, and felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no lingering affection. She was just someone I used to know. "Okay," I said. She waited, like she expected more. When I didn't say anything else, she stood up. "Take care of yourself," she said. "You too." She walked back to her table, grabbed her laptop, and left. I watched her go through the window, watched her get into an older Honda I didn't recognize, watched her drive away. And that was it. No dramatic confrontation, no closure speech, just two people who used to be married, acknowledging each other in a coffee shop, then going their separate ways. I'm 42 now, single. I date sometimes, but I'm careful. Trust doesn't come easy anymore. I watch for the signs I missed before. The phone turned face down, the vague explanations, the sudden interest in work conferences. Kyle says I'm paranoid. Maybe I am. But I'm also careful. There's a difference. I still think about those 4 months sometimes. 4 months where I had no idea. 4 months where I went to work, came home, kissed my wife, and slept in a bed that had been violated in ways I didn't understand yet. 4 months where I was the punchline to a joke I didn't know was being told. But here's what I learned. You can't control other people. You can't make someone be honest or faithful or decent. All you can do is control how you respond when they show you who they really are. Ashley showed me. Trevor showed me. And I responded by walking away with my dignity intact and my finances protected. I didn't beg. I didn't plead. I didn't try to save something that was already dead. I protected myself. I won. Not the marriage. That was gone the moment she kissed Trevor in that Vancouver hotel bar, maybe even before. But I won the part that mattered. I didn't let them destroy me. I didn't let their betrayal turn me into someone bitter and broken. Some nights I still sleep on the couch, even though there's no reason to anymore. Old habits die hard. But most nights, I sleep fine. In my own house, in my own bed, with nobody's secrets hidden in the shadows. The screenshots that changed everything are still saved on a hard drive somewhere, backed up and encrypted. I don't look at them anymore. Don't need to. They served their purpose. They showed me the truth. And sometimes, that's the only thing that matters. The truth, and what you choose to do with it. I chose to walk away whole, to take what was mine and build something new, to learn from the pain without letting it define me. Ashley lost everything: her marriage, her home, her reputation, her career trajectory. Trevor lost his job, his family, his credibility. And me? I lost a wife who was never really mine to begin with. But I gained something more valuable: the knowledge that I could survive the worst betrayal of my life and come out the other side stronger. That's not nothing. That's everything.